Year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big Eight tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega. I like Pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
Welcome back on the block. I'm Jake Bakoven. He is Eric Strickland, and we come to you every weekday here from 4 to 6, wrapping up your afternoons and getting you into the evenings in your sports days. Unfortunately, I've mentioned this at the top of the last hour. Maybe not quite as an eventful day in sports today, but still plenty to break down and go over as we get into this show. But first, as always, we'd like to welcome in Strick and ask him how his day is going so far.
Today is a wonderful day again. We're on the block. It's going to be wonderful because I get to sip on some Wiznai, some wine. It's thirsty.
Thursday. Yep, we're all excited. It is, and this hour is basically just an alcohol hour. I don't know if you are, or if you're back home, if you're at work, or if you're driving. And then of course, don't drink alcohol. But we'd like to encourage you, if you are not, to do some day drinking with us because alcohol is kind of the theme of the day, at least the theme of the hour. We have Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle coming up here in about 20 minutes. Shootout with Strick today will be based around alcohol, and our topic right now is going to be based around alcohol, as well as Nebraska, University of Nebraska is considering alcohol sales in their sporting events coming up, which is something people have been crying and longing for a long time.
We kind of touched on it one of the shows maybe a week or two ago, and that's why there's a lot of J-skers out there.
That's right.
They like, shoot, let me go up here to Omaha, sit in the gym a little bit and have me a little brewski. That's kind of a whether you're out right now, you're going to a happy hour or whatever. The days sometimes can be hectic, and like right now in some places like you guys, it's 1 degree outside. It's cold.
Yeah.
Other places, just the stresses of being in it. Some people just working at home and just want to get out of the house, or just afterwards they're so stressed they're pulling their hair out, and then at the end of the day they just want to sip on some, a little wine, a little, little whiskey, a little brandy, or whatever the case they may have. So just be careful, in anything that you do with regards to that, in moderation, and don't go overboard. You'll be all right.
Yeah, then that's, I think, the hope of moving forward. A lot of teams across college football, and basically that's kind of what the first event people start to think about is the college football games. Obviously, Nebraska football comes first, but certainly, you think about Pinnacle Bank Arena and having, and like you mentioned, Creighton already allowing alcohol sales. How much would that booster stuff for these Nebraska basketball games, or at least, allow you to kind of have fun while your team's not winning games, right? I have fun either way, but you get what I'm saying. And in baseball, certainly it would work out as well too. It's kind of a weird, it's kind of something that a lot of colleges are moving toward, right? Because there's a lot of money to be made there. But there's always that dynamic, right? Between, okay, should we drink while watching college athletes who are not of age to drink at times? Is there some type of moral dilemma that goes along there? I think that we're probably a little bit past that as well. In my mind, at least.
That's what I would say.
You're looking the other way if you don't think a lot of those kids are drinking more than we are, right? Maybe not the athletes.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, even when we were younger, find a way to get it in, if that was what you wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Right. I think there's a level of responsibility with it. Yes, there is, those who can go overboard with it, and that's where you'll have some of the dramas that persist out of that, or even maybe trouble. It just, I think as you said, being past it, a lot of it now has changed, right? Whereas in those younger days, we didn't have Uber. Now, you can leave your car in the parking garage, leave your car wherever it is, you can come back later. I mean, because after a few hours or whatever, in your level, I don't know what they call it, but your content level goes down, and then all of a sudden, just have a friend drop you back off at your car, and you good.
Yeah.
But you can Uber nowadays, right? It's not. There's no really excuse for us. And I'm guilty. I mean, all of us are guilty. And sometimes when you think you are more of a, what do they call it? They call it Samson syndrome. You have a Samson syndrome where you think you can just get into any and get out of any situation, no matter how you feel. Now, that's not necessarily the case. And we've seen that just, all around. So it's better to be a little bit more safe than sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too. You wonder. I guess when again, this has happened in so many places across the nation. For what it's worth, I think I have it right here. The Big Ten, as far as Big Ten home football games, 8 teams in the conference sell beer. So or alcohol, I should say, to just the fan base in general. There's other spots where you can kind of get it if you're up in the press box or something like that, but the general fans can't get it. But at least 8 places. Iowa did it last year. I'm not sure if they've come around to doing it full time. They basically tried it a trial basis period this past year for Iowa football to see kind of how it went. I was going to say, like, it'd be interesting to kind of see if there's more traffic accidents or anything like that, DUIs, whatever, coming out of those games. And maybe there are a few, but again, it's not, this isn't an experiment necessarily. Like Iowa did run it as an experiment, but and they can, I mean, because every region is going to be a little bit different, but this isn't like opening up the floodgates to something that hasn't been tested before. Plenty of sporting events have alcohol sales and things go on pretty well. There's kind of a fear. You don't want, like, NFL fights, right? You see that on YouTube just about every week after watching NFL games, and I don't want to see that, be a common case at Memorial Stadium. But I think that's almost part of, as weird as it is, because of social media and because, like I said, you see it almost every week. That's almost becoming part of the culture for going to an NFL game, is that there will be an NFL fight, a fight, somebody drunk in the stands fighting at some point in the game. And that hasn't really been too much of a problem at college campuses as much.
Yeah. And that's what the concern is, right? And you do have them. I mean, but you could have that just because you don't like the rivalry and you don't like the other person. And it's not necessarily, I mean, they call it liquid courage, but it can still pop off without all of that, right? You mean, shoot, you're driving in the car just on your regular day, someone cuts you off and you I've been looking at some YouTube videos, cats busting caps, like on some road rage stuff, and they ain't have nothing to drink. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be politically correct, but I'm not gonna be. This is on the block.
That's right.
It's funny, right? I mean, now you're starting to see, and to each his own, and whatever you may feel about it or how you think about it, but you don't see crazy stuff with people where you have like now you have medicinal marijuana, right? You people are taking advantage of the medicinal portions of what that brings to you, the THCs or even just the hemp plant or whatever the case may be, right? I would venture to say that there would be less problem issues with that than there is with drinking.
That's probably too.
That's a strong debate.
That's right. You don't seem to get too more upset if you're taking cannabis, and of course, like you said, it's not necessarily even medical. It's or medicinal in some places. It's it's just recreational, which obviously Nebraska isn't in that category.
They're not ready for that.
Yeah, it might take a while for that. I don't know if you'd almost have to but it is kind of interesting because you bring it up and there are comparisons there, and obviously there's kind of a growing culture there, I suppose, and a more of an acceptance level, right? So I wonder if, now we're talking alcohol sales, you wonder down the line at some point in these sports stadiums, if there would be in states where it's recreational.
Walk in with the pre-roll. You walk in with the pre-rolls. Hey, whatever you need right here. We got that pre-roll. Yeah, get that pre-roll for the game. Pre-game. We got pre-game right here. Pre-game pre-roll.
selling. Yeah,
That's crazy.
that will people. Some people rolling over in their graves and they're thinking about people walking up and down the stands, to sell water or Pepsi.
Oh boy,
Pre-rolls.
no pre-rolls. We got get your pre-rolls. Get your pre-rolls.
Yeah,
$5.95, $5.95 pre-rolls right here. Get it right, and then look right next to the pre-rolls. You got the hot dogs and the runs.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
because right
Good
after you hit the
sales
pre-roll, you're gonna want the sales going through the roof. Sales.
I don't know. They'd probably still have to work. I mean, I think with the smoke factor there, you'd probably still have to work.
Yeah, that part.
But
the ventilation needs to be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hey,
And then
let me tell you though, real talk. This is funny, right? So when I was playing with the Boston Celtics, right? Red Auerbach was still alive at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so Red was awesome, man. Just what a phenomenal basketball mind. Just a wonderful guy, man. He was awesome. So Red, you know, they've in facilities, they say no smoking. Well, not in the Boston TD Water Guard or whatever now,
Yeah.
but there, bro, you walk in the bottom half, walking into the game, you smell the aroma of a Red Auerbach Super Stogie. And he was like, I don't know, man, what you say? And who was going to tell Red you can't smoke in the garden? Stop it.
But he was the only one. He was the lone exception, right?
Only one.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. Yeah, not even his friends could do that. Only Red.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool though. Like as a Celtics fan to walk in there and like if you legitimately smell it, like you're saying, it's like, oh, Red's been around over here. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was funny.
That is a cool story though. Because I'd heard about it too. I've obviously being a Celtics fan, I've read a lot all about it. I mean, almost any picture you see Red Auerbach in, he's got a cigar handy with him. So that's kind of funny. But again, from what we're talking about here, the University of Nebraska Board of Regents will consider changing its policy as soon as next week, allowing for sale and consumption of alcohol beverages at athletic events. So I want to open up to you guys on the Starter Heyman text line or Hunt of Lincoln hotline 402-464-5685. Which athletic event would you be or think would be boosted the most by this? I mean, are you kind of thinking maybe football, basketball? For me personally, I'm not a big drinker. But of course, I think the baseball games and going to Salt Dogs games and of course there you're allowed to drink. And so it's kind of already set up in there. So it would work well for Husker baseball, I think. But I think that kind of goes hand in hand with kind of the outdoor, relaxed, casual type of viewing experience that you have in baseball. So in my mind, when I'm just thinking about what event I think would be, boosted or bettered because of alcohol sales, I think maybe Haymarket Park and some Husker baseball might be better off, especially with sometimes how cold those home games are to begin with.
Yeah, I for me personally, I would say UFC. UFC fights, bro. That was just, it's already like you riled up and rowdy and rough. It's already, like that. And then you get it in like that, man. I think that would be pretty cool. And then I think I would need it. And I actually like the sport. I would say I prefer the sport live than I do on TV, and that's hockey.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, hockey gives you a little element of everything. It gives you a little element maybe of a little soccer, a little strategy, the little speed that comes with it. You know what I mean? The athleticism of being shifty. Then you've got football, a little bang, and then you got a little basketball, post up a little bit, maybe. It seems like hockey has a little bit of everything involved in it, that you get to kind of play with,
Yeah, and of course Nebraska does not have hockey, so they will.
How is that not so?
Yeah, well,
with the Lancers right up the street, and you're in the Big Ten you're in the Big Ten with Michigan and Wisconsin has one, Minnesota.
I think that's like a deal they have with the Mavericks, where the Mavericks, I believe that they're playing up in the Big Ten. I have to go and double check that.
Oh, really?
Somebody who has a better knowledge if that could type that in there. But I know it's a thing across which the Big Ten you would think would be especially interested in hockey. But and there are some very good programs in hockey for the Big Ten. But I even think like some of them don't play it enough so much that Notre Dame, I believe, is in the Big. I'll have to go run down the Big Ten standings, I suppose, in the hockey league and see kind of what teams are in there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Off the text line, people are saying baseball for sure, baseball and basketball. The Milkman says another one says baseball and basketball games. I'm not sure if it's needed at football game. That's interesting. So most people more siding with the other sports outside of football. Let's head to the Honda of Lincoln hotline 402-464-5685 and hear from Derek. Derek, how you doing today?
Doing well. Great show, you guys. Love listening to you on the drive home every night.
Thank you.
I think when you bet. I think when you're talking about beer and wine, for instance, I think the best venue to float this is baseball for a number of reasons. A, because you touched on some of them. It's outside, it's outdoors. You can price the beer so that it's prohibitive to be a sloppy drunk.
Right.
And the other thing that goes really well with beer, Strickland, I want your opinion on this, is peanuts, right? And what's better than to cracking peanuts at the game, or even sunflower seeds? A little bit of salt there makes that brew go down pretty easy. But I tell you what, football, it's intriguing, and here's why. And I've been this guy before. You go tailgate and you get hammered before the game. By the fourth quarter, you're just shot, man.
Yeah.
You're actually experiencing a fourth quarter hangover, and I think we lose a lot of the crowd that way. I think if you were able to provide that opportunity at the football game with a lot of consideration to modifications of the stadium, of course, I think you eliminate maybe a lot of that sloppy drunkenness ahead of time. And I wonder if that's a better experience in the fourth quarter for our team when we need that crowd to pipe in for the defense. What do you guys think?
Man.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Derek.
Yeah, Derek, that's a great point. I think you're onto something there. It's like, you're right? You're real hyped earlier in the game. You know what I'm saying? You're pumped up. Everything's good. You're geeked. And the beer is kicking in. You might shoot a little shot at the honey next to you. You're feeling good about yourself. Then all of a sudden, you're just stoic. You're staying there. You're just like, yeah, go big red, go big red.
Yeah.
So I can see that. I mean, you're right. Maybe during the game, so you don't feel like you got to go hard before you enter the game. What you think, though, Bob?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting dynamic. It's certainly because, this does happen to a lot of people that pregame, and some of them don't even make it into the stadium. But it is, I mean, it's something you have to kind of go through to learn. If you're a hardcore Husker football fan, you can't wait for the game all week, but you want to get a buzz. And then, you just you have to be taken home or you pass out at some point. Maybe if you're not at the game, but that I've done that before, and it just feels like you missed it, right? You're like, oh man, I had fun. I did what I wanted to do, but then, I could get drunk or, drink too much whenever I want. I want to watch Husker football when it's on. So that is an interesting experiment. And you wonder what it would do to kind of the alcohol sales around the arena, around the football stadium. Would those go up? Would those go down? Not that it's available inside the stadium. Like you said, you would think that the prices would be high enough to try to curb some of that inebriation, but that also kind of curbs. Okay, well then, how much am I going to pregame before, as much as how many beers or am I going to get at the game? So a lot of interesting kind of things to go over there. But again, more than anything, I just don't think, and maybe it's less needed at football games, maybe because of the passion in the football games. You see a game turning sideways and getting pretty bad like it has in the past couple of seasons. It might get a little bit ugly in certain sections of the stadium, which is, again, probably something that they're a little bit concerned about ahead of this meeting. But I think for the most part, again, this does not have to be a trial run. This is not like a complete science experiment. The data's out there. I mean, there's plenty of teams around the nation selling alcohol around there, and you don't seem to hear too much about it. I don't know the inner workings of different police departments of these college towns. So maybe for what they have to do, go in and look and see kind of what the, arrest numbers up or anything like that up. But for the most part, it doesn't get out of hand at Salt Dogs games or UFC events, or, you might have to kick out a guy or two. But like you said earlier, with or without alcohol, you're going to have to kick a guy out or two. So, I mean, I don't think it's a big problem.
I still think you should do pre-game, pre-rolls at Husker football games. It'd be off the chain. Pre-game, pre-grow. Matter of fact, we'll have a spot there on the block for your pre.
We're trying to find a way to make some money ourselves out of this.
Oh, we're just kidding, folks. We're just kidding. It's just jokes. Just jokes.
But it is time for us to take a break, and we'll continue our alcohol hour here. Coming up next with Thirsty Thursdays of Kevin Meyer, I should say, of Meyer's Cork and Barrel, coming up for Thirsty Thursdays. I'm slurring my words. It sounds like I haven't been. I guess just talking about alcohol gets me there. But either way, Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Cork and Bottle. That's coming up next.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
45, 55, 55.
And now a limerick from the world of Yum.
There once was a man in a bind. He's got the best wife in all mankind. And with Valentine's Day not that far away, he needs the greatest gift he can find. Jewelry can be hit or miss, and that vacuum was quickly dismissed. Flowers, they die. Homemade, don't be that guy. But what about that bakery in Beatrice? Liqueur cakes, you'll eat every crumb. Fruit cakes made with brandy, bourbon, and rum. And those chocolate cake squares. Do I have to drive you there? Get yourself to the world of Yum.
What does better service mean? At Allo, it means that you get the best fiber internet available at prices that work for you. Better service means installers who show up on time. Better service means no billing shenanigans. Better service means a real person answers the phone. If you're not paying for better service, what are you paying for? Get Allo. Get better service. Switch today at allofiber.com/better service.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Very cold conditions again here for our Thursday, but with the winds calming down and plenty of sunshine, it should feel a bit nicer. We only top out near 20 this afternoon. Northeast winds at around 10. Clear tonight and cold with a low down to around 5. We'll start to bounce back a little bit for our Friday with an afternoon high of 36. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today. You can search online for hours to find the best electricians in Lincoln and the surrounding area, but I'll save you time. High Electric has been serving their customers for 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They're experts in everything electrical, from remodeling to new additions, hot tub installations, electric vehicle chargers or EV chargers, lighting, ceiling fans, and more. High Electric takes jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at highelectric.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Do you know the signs of an opioid overdose? Talk to your physician and pharmacist about naloxone, a drug used to safely reverse an opioid overdose. I'm Dr. Rob Rhodes, a Nebraska family practice physician. Be Opie ready and download a free overdose support tool, the Opie Rescue app. Search Opie Ready for more information.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services and aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Oh, that was a beauty.
That was a great one.
They get a whole lot better than that.
Oh, that sounds almost just as good.
Those mics are perfect, right?
Fellas,
how's it going? It's Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Cork and Bottle in for Thirsty Thursdays here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket, one of our favorite times of the weekend. It's basically a whole alcohol hour for us here on the block. We just talked about the Huskers. The University of Nebraska Board of Regents, which is considering changing its policy next week for allowing for the sale and consumption of alcohol beverages at athletic events. We'll get Kevin Meyer's opinion on that here in a moment. We also have Strick taking his sip of wine back in his home. But we better work on some sound as well. As we
Hey, am I on the block today, or y'all kicking me out again?
Can happen at times, but before we get into the drinks that you brought in today, which look it's hard to wait because it looks really good actually, but what are your opinions on potential alcoholic sales here in Nebraska sporting events? It's been kind of put to the side for a long time. Looks like there's some momentum behind it now.
Yeah, I think that it's been proven that it can be done, and it can be done the right way. I think that it's an obvious choice when it comes to looking for alternate revenue streams for the university. I would like Meyer's Cork and Bottle to have a piece of it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not saying we do it all, but we could have a booth, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But it's I think it's inevitable pretty much, and it's just going to add to the fan experience. I would like to see some stadium upgrades, some some what do you call those, just hangout areas like atriums?
Oh, yeah.
Like
it's a good idea.
You could take a section in the back and just create like a sports bar. You have these great big TVs, you have a bar there, you have high top tables, and you could buy tickets just to go in to sit there or stand there and watch the game in the stadium, drinking beers, and I think that would be a super cool fan added experience, and it's being done, and I just think that we need to do it too.
That's part of the survey they put out there, was areas like that, basically, trying to promote potentially having alcohol down the road or sooner rather than later at UNL. They were talking about upgrades at the stadium. Do we want to have these areas like this where you can convene?
I think absolutely. I mean, you have it at Haymarket Park, but you can drink when the Salt Dogs are playing, but you can't when the Huskers are playing. Well, it's it just lends itself to that. That my biggest concern, I guess, would be is that how much, if any, are you taking away from local businesses that rely on those Husker football Saturdays for revenue? Many of them pay premium levels of rent just to get those 7 home games or 6 home games. and that's how they make their whole year. And so, essentially, the university then is a de facto competitor, but to what degree? Because again, if there's 90,000 or 85,000 in the stadium, and they're not going to be at the local bar or restaurant while they're in the stadium anyway. Now they'll still probably go beforehand and afterwards, but during the game, I don't know that they're actually going to be competitors. So there are things you could do to circumvent that competitions aspect, where maybe you shut off the alcohol sales at middle of the third quarter or by the end of the third quarter, and then that gives people a chance to sort of dry out for a couple hours before they head home. I don't know. There's lots of caveats and lots of pluses and minuses, but we all want to see the university be successful and the Huskers be successful, and if that's a piece of it, then so be it.
Yeah, it's exciting times. We'll see if that can
you hear me, guys?
around the corner. I don't think we can still hear Strick, so maybe we can't have him on the block again. But we'll try.
Heard him earlier. Just had it.
Do we hear him earlier?
So
we can't hear you still. Strick, say something.
You guys don't love me.
No,
you don't love me.
Anyway,
well, shoot.
Don't love me.
We'll get into it.
I'm like Strick's kryptonite. Every time I come in, it just goes haywire.
Something happened.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, but anyways, he's still drinking some wine, so he's feeling good back in his home, and we can watch him on the stream if you want to as well, drinking his wine. What do we have here?
This is called Il Cure, and it is a California Chardonnay. It's our new featured wine of the month, and Il Cure is the Italian word, means the heart, and so they have a nice label that has a heart on it, and there's also two reds. There's a Zinfandel and a Cabernet, but we chose it specifically for our Winery of the Month feature for February because Valentine's Day is coming up. So, fellas, if you want something romantic, some sort of basic thing to take home for your loved one, it's great wine, has the right look, and they're on sale $15.99. This is the white, and like I said, it's a Chardonnay. And basically Chardonnay is going to be a little more full-bodied white. It's mostly on the dry side. Our California Chardonnays, though, it will also put in new oak, so it picks up a little bit of that oak nuance. And then they'll also put it through a process called malolactic fermentation. And what that means is that the natural acidity in the wine is changed. And so the natural acidity is called malic acid, and that's that sort of crisp, zippy, zingy mouthfeel that you get. Well, they convert it to lactic acid or lactose, the same acid type found in milks. And so that's why oftentimes California Chardonnays are described as being buttery. And it's because of that process of the new oak barrel aging and the malolactic fermentation. But great pairings with this. A good Valentine's thing is doing crab legs or lobster tail, and a lot of times those will have like a lemon butter sauce that lends itself to this perfectly. Also, maybe like a linguine with a white sauce would lend itself to that perfectly. Even like salmon, you squeeze a little bit of lime or a little bit of lemon over your salmon, that lends itself to this really well too.
I seem to be more of a white wine type of guy than a red wine type of guy. Is there like stereotypes or anything that fall into that? I suppose, or would there a reason beyond that? Or
generally speaking, that if you don't have a ton of wine drinking experience, generally as Americans, we like things cold.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We like our beer cold, our soda pop cold, our Gatorade cold, bottled water, and we drink our beverages cold. And so when you drink a red wine, you generally don't chill it. It's generally going to be room temp. And so that can sometimes be a turnoff for some people because they're used to their beverages being cold. Now, again, it's just a question of experience too. So the more things you try, the more your taste will develop. And that's the whole idea of Thirsty Thursday in a nutshell.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm still staying in the past of just drinking white wine. And
someday you'll graduate to reds.
Maybe. I think it was communion that maybe turned me off from red wine for a little bit before I developed my taste. No, it doesn't turn me off from it. I still like red wine. I prefer white wine. I think you're actually right. It's probably just because of you usually chill it. So
it's a little bit sweeter though too, right? In general, Kevin, is that
it can be. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, there are plenty of white wines out there that are bone dry that have absolutely zero residual sugar, and essentially, dryness is the absence of residual sugar. And this has a little bit of that butterscotchy note, a little bit of the buttery note but I also get some like sort of peachy vibes and some various fruits, not really in a sweet way per se, but more aromatics. And it's just a nice, easy drinking Chardonnay for $15.99
There
that
you
has
go.
a good looking label that you can treat your sweetie for Valentine's.
Yeah, it's perfect with the heart on the front. And I don't want to try to pronounce it again. I'll have you do it.
It's called Il Cure,
El
and
Cure.
it's an Italian word, but it's a Mendocino County, California winery.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
It's
asked
delicious.
you off the air, Kevin, because I'm curious. Obviously, you guys are a big place to go for Valentine's Day. When do the sales start picking up? Like, when do you start seeing the guys in there? Is it the day before? Is
Usually
it 2
about
days before?
February 12th.
February 12th. 2 days before is when it happens.
That's the trickle. The day of is usually the big push.
That is the big day. That's
yeah, pretty
perfect.
much.
Do you
And,
guys
know,
stock up like an extra on for those 2
Oh
days?
yeah.
Okay.
We definitely stock up on extra on bubblies and things like this
There you go.
that will have a nice Valentine's message or nuance. And it's just kind of one of those things that as men we're more the hunter gatherer types, right? So if we say, as an example, we need pants, and we find a pair of pants we like, we're going to buy 3 pairs just in different colors,
Yeah.
because we don't want to have to shop 3 times. We want to get it all at once. We kind of do the same way with with our gift giving. So we want to do it all at once. We don't want to make multiple trips, and that's why generally, in my opinion, why guys tend to wait till the last minute for that stuff.
Yeah,
It's not that we
makes
don't
sense.
care.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's not that.
We're very complex brains.
There is something about just getting something done at the last minute. It's almost fulfilling as well. But the panic that you have before then, if you can't
Bach
get it,
lives
it's
for the
quite
panic
scary.
there.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Panic can be a powerful motivator, Buck.
I've learned that over the years. What are we going to sip on now?
So this is called Cerro's Sangria Cider. It's brand new from our local cidery here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Cerro, they're located around 19th and N streets in Lake, Nebraska. And
That's good.
they make great ciders. And the other thing I like about their ciders is that they taste like an adult cider, not like you're drinking apple juice. And they have some complexity to them. They almost kind of taste like a fruited wine. But this is their sangria cider. It's brand new. Super delicious. Enough sweetness to give it character, but not enough to make it like cloying. Not a big alcohol kick on the end of it. I think they're probably around 5%, 5.5%, and made locally right here in good old Lincoln, Nebraska. And if you've never been down there, they have a really cool tasting room, and you can do flights where you get a smaller portion of like 4 or 5 different types, and it's really a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite days or nights for me and the wife down at Cerro.
Yeah, I've got to try that out, especially if they got this down there. This is delicious. It's kind of weird because it's like I can't put a finger on it, but there seems to be several sort of tastes that are going through my mind as I sip on it.
Well, and that's sort of sangria in a nutshell. So for those of you playing at home, sangria is generally a Spanish red wine mixed with fruit and brandy and sometimes juices and sugar, and they'll just kind of mix all that together and almost make like an alcoholic punch out of it.
Yeah.
And so this is sort of a cider version of that. And so, they'll, when they make it, they'll, cut the oranges and the limes and the lemons and the various fruit, and just leave it all in there. So it all, number one, it sort of adds flavor, but number two, it looks really cool in the punch bowl or in the pitcher. And it's just kind of a fun summery thing. And it just so happens it's their new seasonal right now.
Well, what you said, Kevin, was big. Is like you drink the cider and you can tell it's not for kids. Obviously, alcoholic ciders have been around for a while, but you can tell this one specifically. You can tell it's for adults. Obviously, it's alcoholic, but it just had a different taste to it.
Yeah,
a different feel.
We're not children. We don't want to sit there and drink apple juice.
Like I've had some ciders that you couldn't really tell if it was alcoholic or not.
Right.
Yeah.
And to me, like, I don't want a cup full of sugar.
Right.
And
Yeah,
if I want apple juice, I'll drink apple juice. But I want a little more complexity of that in my cider. And I think Cerro makes some of the best ciders I've ever had, regardless of where they come from. And they just happen to be from right here in good old Lincoln.
Yeah, and that's good. Always, if you can support local, that helps too. And it's nice to be able to taste local from Kevin Myers. It's not called Kevin Myers Cork and Bottle, but you work there.
I do work
He's
there.
the man.
I happen to own the place.
He's the
It's
man
a
in charge.
Legacy business. It's been my full-time career for over 20 years. I was business partners with my father for a better part of a decade, and it's been in my family since 1978. I started working there as a part-time college kid in 1991.
Wow.
I sort of grew up not wanting to be in the family business, and so after college, I got into a corporate wireless telecom, which is as fascinating as it sounds. And 2 or 3 corporate buyouts and 3 or 4 name changes later, and watching all of the money get pulled out of Lincoln and Nebraska and sent down somewhere else, I was like, you know what, the family business doesn't look like such a bad gig. And so, like I said, it's been my full-time career for well over 20 years, and I still love going to work every day and love helping people pick out stuff and expose them to some things that normally they wouldn't try themselves, and explain why I think they would like it. And that's just the fun part of my job.
Yeah, I think that your job is awesome, because how many times are people in a bad mood going to see you?
Never, or
Exactly,
rarely.
rarely. They're looking for some spirits.
I
man.
did have a lady get mad because we carded her and she thought we were being discriminatory because she
Oh.
was short.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah.
You're discriminating against me because I'm short. And I'm like, no, you're in a mask and we're going to card everybody. It's
Yeah.
the law. you know?
Yeah.
So occasionally it happens, but for the most part, everyone who comes to see me is happy to see me and happy to be there, and I'm happy to see them too.
That's kind of surprising that you didn't take to the family business right away with how knowledgeable you are. I mean, I know it's like you said, you've been in the business for that long, but still, it seems like you're just a natural at it. So
Well, it didn't happen overnight. It
That's
takes,
right.
you show up every day for 20 something years and eventually you stop sucking at stuff. So
Is that how that goes?
I'm
Yeah, I
hoping.
think so.
I
trying
think
to learn
that's what the
that.
ticket's hoping with me, but we'll see if it turns out.
Yeah.
We'll, or hopefully, maybe give me some more time here. We are gonna have to finish it off though. One more time, try to promote these wonderful drinks that we brought in here.
So Cerro Cider, it's their sangria cider, brand new, just came into the store today, and Il Cure Chardonnay, but there's also a Red Zin and Cabernet, typically $20, all on sale $15.99 with a nice heart on the label, great for Valentine's Day. And we'll bring in one of the reds next week and try that on the air, and hopefully by that time we'll be able to include Strick in the whole process.
Yeah, we're gonna give that a shot too. And then anything besides, as far as promotional coming up besides Valentine's Day.
That's the big kick right now is Valentine's Day coming up. Obviously, Super Bowl is
yeah.
coming up, so it's kind of nice because what happens in January, a lot of people are doing dry January. They feel kind of fat because of the holidays. They feel kind of broke because their credit card bill came due from all the gift giving, and so it's a really, really slow month for us. And that's why we did the fundraiser or the sock drive for the bourbon raffle. And that's why we do that every year in January. And then usually around middle of February, you have the Super Bowl and Valentine's Day, and it kind of gets people back out of hibernation. And so we're excited for that. And come on down and see us. We'll help you out with your Valentine's gifts or your Super Bowl tailgate stuff.
Absolutely. It's never a bad time to go to Myers Cork and Bottle, but now would be especially good time to do it. So we'd like to thank Kevin Meyer once again for joining us, as well as Jake Sorensen for jumping in here and taking some sips with us. We'll get Strick back on the block here and just around the corner. It's time for Shootout with Strick. Give us a call, 402-464-5685. Like we said, it's alcohol hour, so it's our alcohol-based game show where you just have to beat Strick in some alcohol trivia. That's coming up next here. Give us a call, 402-464-5685 for your chance at $15 to Buffalo Wings and Ring. That's next on 93.7 The Ticket.
What does better service mean? At Allo, it means that you get the best fiber internet available at prices that work for you. Better service means installers who show up on time. Better service means no billing shenanigans.
Can you hear me?
Better service means a real person
No.
answers the phone. If you're not paying for better service, what are you paying for? Get Allo. Get better service. Switch today at allofiber.com/better service.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Great Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
And now a limerick from the world of Yum.
There once was a man in a bind. He's got the best wife in all mankind. And with Valentine's Day not that far away, he needs the greatest gift he can find. Jewelry can be hit or miss, and that vacuum was quickly dismissed. Flowers, they die. Homemade, don't be that guy. But what about that bakery in Beatrice? Liqueur cakes, you'll eat every crumb. Fruit cakes made with brandy, bourbon, and rum. And those chocolate cake squares. Do I have to drive you there? Get yourself to the world of Yum.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Very cold conditions again here for our Thursday, but with the winds calming down and plenty of sunshine, it should feel a bit nicer. We only top out near 20 this afternoon. Northeast winds at around 10. Clear tonight and cold with a low down to around 5. We'll start to bounce back a little bit for our Friday with an afternoon high of 36. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It's time for Shootout with Strick here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket, and it's our alcohol hour. So we're going to have an alcohol-based game show here. But so you gotta know your alcohol more than Strick. We'll see if we can get that done. Strick, can we hear you again? I don't think we can hear you again, Strick. We're still working on it. All right. Well, let's try this button. Does that work?
That's crazy. Y'all don't want me on the block.
No, we still can't hear Strick. Can I hold on 1 second? I'm gonna knock on the glass. We can't really do anything now. I don't even have any music to play, so it'll take me a second. But we still need some help getting Strick back on. There's something about Thirsty Thursdays that just we kick Strick off the block and then we can't hear him. We're having trouble hearing a Strick again. If we could try to work on that. But we are joined by Scott on the Honda of Lincoln hotline to try to give Strick an opportunity if we can eventually hear him. There's Scott. How are you feeling today? You excited about the potential for alcohol sales at Nebraska events?
Yeah, I think that'll be sweet. That'll spice things up. A little more interest in the games. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I think a lot of fans would be excited to see that if it does happen. And Scott, you get a chance to $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings if you can beat Strick in our game show today. Strick, can we hear you now?
You guys don't love Stricky.
He's back. Yay.
Y'all don't love Stricky.
We love Strick. We just can't figure out how to hear him sometimes when we have so many people in the room. We will figure that out. It's something we probably should have figured out by now, but I just don't. We lost a pre-production piece, so we're kind of working on that here. But in any case, are you ready for your game show, Strick? Have you studied up on your alcohol?
Oh, I don't know if I'm studied up on that. I'm just a minor connoisseur, but I'll give it a shot.
All right. We'll get it go in 3, 2, 1. What is the top-selling beer in the United States? Bud Light or Miller Lite?
Bud Light.
That's correct. Official beer of the Colorado Rockies. Coors Light or Sam Adams?
Coors.
That's right. Blue Ribbon
Coors.
Town was a comedy variety radio series in the 1940s, sponsored by Pabst Blue Ribbon. Who was the star of the show? Jack Benny or Groucho Marx?
Finney.
No. Top-selling vodka in the world. Smirnoff or Absolute?
Absolute.
It's Smirnoff. How many Big Ten teams sell alcohol at their home games?
6.
Oh, it's 8. Unfortunately, we had a little problem there, but 2 points over for Strick. As is actually Groucho Marx, who is that? You have to know your 1940s radio if you come on here as well.
I would have got the money ball. You was too slow.
Yeah, I know. Part of it is again me slurring my words after drinking a little bit with Kevin there. Let's go over to Scott. Scott, are you ready to beat 2? Do you think you can get it done?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1. In the late 80s, there was a fictional canine mascot named Spuds McKenzie. Was he part of Bud Light or Miller Lite?
Bud Light.
That's correct. Official beer of the Milwaukee Brewers. Coors Light or Miller's Light?
Miller Lite.
That's correct. Top-selling imported drink in the U.S. since 1998. Corona Extra or Heineken?
Heineken.
It's actually Corona. Who was the top-selling American whiskey brand in 2021? Jim Beam or Jack Daniels?
Jack Daniels.
That's correct. Which Big Ten West school besides Nebraska does not sell alcohol at their home games?
Northwestern.
That's actually correct, too. 4 points for Scott. He gets the win. He goes home with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. And, of course, he's earned himself a couple shout-outs here.
Boom, shakalaka. Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
$15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Scott, we also would like to give you the opportunity to talk trash to Strick if you want to for your victory.
No, I'll let Stone Cold handle that.
All right, there you go. Let Stone Cold get it done. Congratulations to Scott, winner of $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. And yeah, maybe I had that.
Yeah, it was your fault today, bro.
Yeah, it probably didn't help, but
and you gave him easy questions. You gave Stricky all the hard ones.
Yeah, I tried to give you a 1940s radio one, but yeah, he might have had an easy one. Anyway,
it's all
how about
good.
this would be the tiebreaker. According to the 2019 National Survey on Drug Use and Health, what percentage of people ages 18 and older reported they drank alcohol at some point in their life?
What percentage?
Yeah, 18 and older.
60.
It's actually 85.6%. That's a lot of people. I'm kind of surprised. So a few people haven't done that. Again, maybe not going through the line at communion at church or whatever, but you'd think at some point you'd get some alcohol.
Back in the day, used to be some real wine in that thing. Back in the day, they started putting that grape juice.
Yeah. It kind of depends on what you prefer, I suppose, these days. I don't know. But anyway, a little fun exercise there, and we've had our alcohol hour. So after our alcohol hour, we tried to get a normal hour in with a little bit of alcohol in our system. We'll see if we can get that done. We've got plenty to talk about. Winners and losers of National Signing Day. We'll kind of bring that up as there's a few different things going there. Ranking the Big Ten coaches now that Jim Harbaugh will be back. That's always a fun exercise. And then we'll do our Hitting the Hardwood segment. The Kobe Bryant Trophy has been rebranded, reconfigured, I suppose. And then we'll also talk about some of the biggest NBA rivalries Strick has ever been a part of, because the Clippers and Lakers play tonight, and that's one of the bigger rivalries as well. We'll talk about all that next. We'll get to that in the next hour here on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
And now a limerick from the world of Yum.
There once was a man in a bind. He's got the best wife in all mankind. Away, he needs the greatest gift he can find. Jewelry can be hit or miss, and that vacuum was quickly dismissed. Flowers, they die. Homemade, don't be that guy. But what about that bakery in Beatrice? Liqueur cakes, you'll eat every crumb. Fruit cakes made with brandy, bourbon, and rum. And those chocolate cake squares. Do I have to drive you there? Get yourself to the world of Yum.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
You just kind of feel a little more settled with a guy like Trev Alberts leading the way. I think that's a big part of it.
Trev Alberts is like a mix of the two. He knows the business side of it. He knows what needs to get done, how to make money, how to spend money, etc. Whatever you got to do there as an athletic director. Then on the personal level, he wants to get to know the coaches.
I think a good description for Trev is that he understands how important relationships are.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give
John Henry's
a call or text today.
435-5555.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Great Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray Difference.
Turn off the TV and power down the video games. It's time for homework. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the NSCA. We want every child to learn and be successful. As a teacher, mom, and grandmother, I know children need a quiet place to do homework. Designate an area in your home away from the TV and background noise. Good study habits start with a quiet learning environment at home.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that First person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Well, at least I'm back. The first half of the hour, they didn't, I felt like a new kid on the block. I couldn't get in on the block. They don't love Stricky on the block in the 4 o'clock hour when they sipping on wine on thirsty Thursdays. Yeah. Welcome back to On the Block. We thank you for joining us for the second hour. We're going to talk a little bit about some, changes, some adjustments that have been made in the NBA All-Star game with regards to the weight that you get, the iron that you get, the trophies that are presented to you for doing some magnanimous, wonderful, and great things, exploits, and all that good stuff. And in about the 5:25 hour, we'll talk a little bit about some Big Ten coach rankings and what we think, and we would love your opinions. So get ready to tap in on that at 402-464-5685 on the Sutter Heyman text line. I think we may take a call during that segment. Maybe we'll take a call. So call in also on the Honda Lincoln hotline at 402-464-5685 just to get your thoughts and opinions on, which coachings that you think fill the void at the top 5 and who is the bottom feeder of the Big Ten as far as coaches right now. I think you can say there's been some shifts. Some people have speculated that Mel Tucker, when it came into this season, was at the bottom of that barrel, but we'll see if that's changed, in our opinion. And next, let's talk about the NBA hardware. So basically, the NBA unveils their new and improved trophies for the NBA All-Star Game, which their theme is continued growth and evolution. These designs and these awards will be part of the league's landmark 75th anniversary season for the NBA. Bach, it looks like that the MVP trophy is going to be a Kobe-themed big trophy that you can just, I don't know, you may need a whole case, just a whole room for that trophy, the way that it looks. It looks like that it's a commemorating league's commemorating trophy for basically Kobe Bryant. It'll be called the Kobe Bryant Trophy. It'll be awarded to the Kia All-Star MVP. Then they have also some adjustments to the AT&T Slam Dunk Champion, the Clorox Rising Stars MVP, the Ruffles NBA All-Star Celebrity Game MVP. And there'll be just some of those changes that are being presented during this All-Star game that will feature on February 18th through the 20th in Cleveland, Ohio. So, Bach, it looks like the new MVP trophy that Adam Silver has announced and put forward, it's going to be a trophy that features an 8-sided base. That's obvious as to why, but, we'll get into that, which is, according to the NBA, represents 8 decades of the NBA All-Star games that have taken place, as well as a nod to Kobe Bryant's number 8 jersey. And then there's 18 stars around the trophy that represents Bryant's 18 All-Star selections, while there's 24 stars located at the first level, which would represent each All-Star player featured in the game and Bryant's number 24 jersey. Do you think this is something that's kind of like a media ploy trying to draw some eyes? I mean, obviously the numbers are down this year as opposed to in times past. Obviously, the game hasn't been the same. The dunk contest, there's been moments and then there's been debacles. And then, most everybody tunes in really for the 3-point shooting contest. I mean, there's been gimmicks that have been thrown in there, and it's just doesn't have the same savor that it used to. So do you think this is just a kind of a marketing ploy to kind of draw some eyes back on the game and draw some respectability back to the game, or is it just something that needs to be done?
I think that it's interesting. At least I love obviously including Kobe Bryant. It's not just that he, was a historic player and all that stuff, and we know about him passing away. It was actually I think it was a 4-time NBA All-Star MVP. So I mean, he showed out well in the All-Star game in the past. So that's very cool, and redesigning and making it look like you said. I mean, it looks heavy. It looks like that's going to be a big trophy that you can display on your display case, and obviously anything that's attached to Kobe Bryant's going to be very cool. So I like the look of it. I like I think that's going to look very cool taking it home. I have a problem with the 3-point contest, the slam dunk contest, the skills challenge competition, the rising star MVP. The reason I have a problem with it, I mean, they all look cool. You kind of see through them. They're clear, probably glass, and have a kind of a cool little logo inside. It's just they all look the same. They all look, they don't differentiate from each other. There's just different wording at the bottom of it. So I think that if you really want to, make it look cool, make it look like, it represents that skill that they're doing. A dunk contest is easy. Make a guy that's thrown one down, that type of trophy. And I'm sure they've done that in the past, but I just don't like the fact that they look the same, because they're very different skills, very different competitions. And they do, despite the fact that, some people might not like All-Star Weekend or whatever, that is the draw. The draw is kind of these individual skill competitions more so than the game. And there's just a very valued and illustrious history of winning these things. So I think that, I like that it kind of separates from the Kobe Bryant MVP trophy, that it looks, that kind of makes that one feel bigger, but all the rest of them look the same, and it would be hard if you set them on a table to know which one you're getting. And I think that that's belittling kind of, the event altogether. And not that it's a big deal, but if you win that trophy, you'd like it to look not like the other trophies that were handed out that year.
Yeah, let's see if somebody will call in at the Honda Lincoln hotline at 402-464-5685. I would love to hear your thoughts with regards to if you've had an opportunity to view All-Star games of the past, and then what the All-Star games look like in the present last maybe 5 to 10 years. What you think about the differences of how those games went and how you felt about those games as opposed to now. I remember I used to go to the All-Star game back then. I mean, they were fun times. It was, it was great. It was going to be interesting. I had the pleasure of sitting there and watching Vince Carter do what he had, what he did in that iconic dunk contest he had. Then one of the greatest of all times definitely was the Levine and Aaron Gordon, the stuff these young fellas was doing, it was just, man, I mean, up and down that board. And then you had I happened to be at that All-Star game, and one of my teammates, Michael Finley, tried to do the cartwheel dunk. That was probably the worst dunk contest, tried to take shirts off and do all kinds of, that was crazy. And I didn't miss the one, I think his name, it was Gerald Green or
oh yeah,
when he went up and blew out the freaking cupcake. And I mean, the dunks he was doing, he actually probably should have won, because he was so creative in the stuff that he did that people were like, did he just do that? and they didn't realize, they thought it was a gimmick, but he was basically showing you, this is how high I get to this rim. and he did some stuff that was phenomenal. So I would love to hear some thoughts as to what other people feel about those All-Star games in the past and the present. What about you, Bach? I mean, how do you feel? Did you get a chance to watch like some of those back in, the earlier days of my era, or the middle years of my era? Because it started to change once, MJ and that crew started to pass out. I mean, it went from competitive. Now, let me be real about it. Kobe was always like competitive. Allen Iverson, they was always like, we try to win, you know.
Yeah.
But some of the other guys, now it's just like a toy fest out there. It's like, yeah, just whatever.
Yeah, in Major League Baseball, kind of played around with the idea of giving home field advantage to the winning side or whatever in their championship series. I think that's going a little far, but I think that there should be something on the line for the All-Star game to make it competitive, because we can complain about the defense and putting in the hard work and as competitive as it is. And yes, it's kind of, it's just one more game of an 82-game season, so it's not that much more dangerous, but there is inherently a little bit more danger. I mean, if you're playing competitively for, what should be the overall goal is not win an exhibition game, it's to take your team to the playoffs, or, especially if you're at that level, you're a cornerstone of your franchise. It would just be so tragic if you had a major injury in an all-star game. So, you can kind of understand that. And that's why I think the skills competitions have kind of moved, ahead of the All-Star game. And yeah, I mean, there's still been great memories here and there of highlights in the All-Star game. It's still kind of cool. I like when everybody wore the different jerseys. I think that was your times, late 90s, when they really kind of celebrated their team instead of everybody just wearing the red or blue, East and West. And they've also tried the team LeBron versus team Giannis, or team Curry versus team LeBron, or whatever, to kind of make it a little bit, more even across conferences. And that's a good, I like the fact that they're trying different things. As a traditionalist, I like the East versus the West, because I've always kind of been an Eastern Conference type of guy. And the Western Conference for much of my life has been stacked. So it's kind of like getting over that hump at times. I love the dunk contest. I love the fact that NBA TV will play it, all the past ones leading up to it. The 3-point contest has kind of taken over as the primary competition, just because of how much skill. And the other thing is that 3-point, like the best 3-point shooters are in the 3-point contest. The best dunkers usually are not in the dunk contest. You kind of get role players that can really jump and kind of make a name for themselves, but it's not the top names in the sport. So that's kind of why I think that's kind of taken over as well too. But there's also this part of, there's only so much you can do with a ball and going up for a dunk, right? I mean, there's only so much, and it seems like at some point you feel like you've kind of reached that. So part of it nowadays I still like is the, throwing on the throwback uniform and doing a dunk that's been done in the past that was made famous in another dunk contest. I like those kind of odes to the past. But another thing that I also think hurts the dunk contest is the judges at times will just give 10s out like they're nothing. I think a 10 should be very rare. That's almost near perfect. The best dunk you've seen of the night is a 10. There should be no shame in a 9. But then when you're competing with the other judges and you feel that guy, everybody's got to be on the same page. I can't just grade it that way. I mean, you can. We've had judges in the past that kind of do go on their own grading pattern. But, I think that hurts it a little bit too, because certainly, all those dunks that they're doing is such high level difficulty. And it's very impressive. But there's only 1 or 2 dunks of the night, right? I mean, if I give a 10 and somebody outdoes that one, then okay, I'll give it another 10. I understand that, but there's some of them that are sometimes the commentators have to say, well, you really have to understand the difficulty of this between the legs. But then you're going, well, yeah, I mean, it's but I've seen it before, it's pretty close to something we've seen before. But again, that goes back to the problem of there's only so much you can do rising up for a dunk.
Yeah, I think that's true. And one other point I'd like to make in what you said is that you talked about there's an understanding as to why guys don't go as hard, because you would hate to have some form of a significant injury in that. Part of me agrees with you, and then part of me doesn't. But I can see it in basketball a little bit more than I can in football, right? For a Pro Bowl, right? Oh, yeah. Because here's why. One of the things that me and some of my friends, and even I've taught my kids and so forth and so on, is that if you're not going to play the sport and play it at a high level, you will end up getting injured. So, for example, you can't just go out and play football and just go half A. You just can't do that, because you're going to end up getting hurt, right? So I can understand, because part of me, when I played in the off season, there were certain things that I wouldn't do. It depended on who I was playing with, right? So if I was like at UCLA and I was playing against, a lot of my colleagues, that we would go down there and train. So a lot of us would go in, we would go to UCLA and, it'd be all, Baron Davis, Paul Pierce, me, Ced Ceballos. You would have every dang near NBA guy there, right? That's different. You go hard because guys understand, right? But if you go down to your local Lifetime Fitness, or you go down and you're just trying to get a little run in and get it going hard, that's when I don't penetrate. I don't go to the basket, because guys they're trying to make some form of 15-minute fame name for themselves.
Oh,
so they're swiping at hands. That's how you break wrists, thumbs, undercutting. So on fast breaks, I'm liable to pull up and shoot a little mid-range, because that's the one thing I don't want somebody. I'm never dunking, because you do not just want somebody undercutting you or doing something crazy like that. So in that aspect, I get it. That's why you let guys go. That's why there's probably a lot more dunks. When guy gets by you, you might as well, don't do anything to get a guy hurt. So part of me gets it, but then part of me is saying playing half A also leaves room for potential injury as well. But I think the sport makes the difference as to that part of that too.
That is interesting too, because I've actually, kind of been like right on the other side of that, where I've been playing, Husker athletes will come in and play at the Downtown Y or whatever. And, I saw it firsthand, a guy that was competitive, I suppose, like you said, trying to get 15 minutes of fame or get his one up on the big man walking in the gym or whatever, and he undercut him, and the guy ended up limping off the court and had to had to leave, and he was a prominent member of the Huskers team. So I would always kind of fear that, playing against the general public. I suppose you kind of heard about that, especially like Eric Weddle's in the news and what he was doing to stay healthy between his break and football was a lot of pickup basketball. If I were you, I'd feel more comfortable playing against the other, NBA players that know what they're doing and are out there and know, that even if you're playing competitively, it's not the time to be the most, to get the biggest contests at the rim just so you can say you swatted that guy. You wait till the game action to do that. Yeah, exactly. And that's just the dynamic of that particular thing. So that's an interesting point. You're right though, man. I don't know. 75th year, I don't know which gimmicks they're going to throw out. I think some of the funnest parts of those weekends was the Players Association party was like a star-studded event. That was one of the, and then it got to a point where everybody, you had Kenny Smith and every NBA guy was doing some event or some. And it got to a point where I just couldn't go anymore. It didn't have the same savor for me, right? So you used to go every year?
Oh yeah, I used to.
Yeah,
yeah. And
I still haven't gone. I've heard it's a heck of a time though.
It can be, it can be. Especially if you find, like I said, you find yourself in the right circles, and then and then I think too, depending on where it was, made the difference. I think. Some cities that you maybe wanted to explore a little bit, kind of get a flavor of the city. One of the worst ones, I think, was in Philly. San Francisco was a bad one. It was just rainy and just, kind of cold and dreary. And, that was kind of a terrible one. But, there was some that were, quite.
Yeah. I've heard like they take over
Atlanta was.
Oh yeah, it just becomes a whole party weekend, and I heard Chicago was pretty good. That was from a guy from Chicago, so maybe he only knows about the Chicago event. But absolutely, I think that an event like that it's the whole weekend long, and your city only gets it once every 15 years, whatever it is. I could definitely go for one. I have to make it to one of these before my time's up here.
Yeah, I think it's a worthy thing to kind of test and go and see. If you've never been there. But again, I think there was a point where I would go to Saturday. I would never go to Sunday.
Yeah.
It got to a point where I was just like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a competitor. I'm a natural competitor. If I see somebody have A in it, I'm just like,
Yeah, I suppose for the average fan, though, you still got to kind of check off the best players you've ever seen. And if you get, 24 of them right there on the court, probably if you haven't gone to too many other events, maybe 24 of the top 35 players you've ever seen or something like that. It'd be cool to kind of add that. You're not seeing them at their best, I suppose, if that matters to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. If you ever had an experience or an opportunity to go to an all-star game, it doesn't matter if it was football, if it was basketball, Pro Bowl, give us your thoughts on what you thought about it on the Sauter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685 and what year you went and what that experience was. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to take a break right now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the Big Ten coaches that we think are getting the job done and some that we don't think is getting it done. Who's at the bottom? Who's at the top? What do you think? Come back on the block right after this.
This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Harrison Arns. In basketball over the weekend, Omaha North took down Lincoln Southeast 47-46. Wade Boss led Lincoln Southeast with 15 points in the loss. Lincoln High won over Omaha Benson 51-45. Lincoln Pius X won over Omaha Burke in a shootout 87-71. Brady Christensen for Pius led all scores with 29. Elkhorn South beat Lincoln Northeast 69-62. Omaha Central got a win over Lincoln Southwest 57-51. Lincoln East dominated in a win over Millard West 64-39. The Spartans are currently on a 4-game win streak, but will face Lincoln Pius X in their next game. And Parkview Christian won over Omaha Christian 56-39. In bowling, the Lincoln Pius boys won the A3 district title. They will play in the state tournament on Monday at Sun Valley Lanes. This has been your High School Minute, sponsored by Southeast Community College, with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford. Learn more today at southeast.edu.
Casey's General Store is giving you the chance at winning 2 free tickets to a Nebraska home basketball game this season. Stop by any Casey's location in Lincoln throughout basketball season. Enter your name into the registration box, and you'll have a chance to win 2 tickets to an upcoming Nebraska basketball game. Every drawing will occur at least 24 hours before the game that has its selected winner. So make sure to get to any Casey's in Lincoln today for your chance at 2 free tickets for Nebraska men's basketball games.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Turn off the TV and power down the video games. It's time for homework. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the NSEA. We want every child to learn and be successful. As a teacher, mom, and grandmother, I know children need a quiet place to do homework. Designate an area in your home away from the TV and background noise. Good study habits start with a quiet learning environment at home.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westo and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westo Street at Price Right Auto.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block. Thank you for joining us again. Almost done. It is Thirsty Thursday. We have one more day to go. You can find us every night right here. Not anywhere else. You could be anywhere you wanted to be, but on your drive home, after you hit your happy hour, after you sip on your Thirsty Thursday wine, join us right here on the block, 4 to 6 Central, every night, right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfmapp.com. You can find us on all the other platforms. Again, subscribe, tell a friend, let them know what's going on the block, and always come back. It's a party because the block is hot. The block is hot right here every night. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Big Ten. The Big Ten, obviously, Media Day just was not too long ago, just completed. And there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of rivalry. There's a lot of, I got mine. Did you get yours? All of that's going on, but perhaps there's nothing more important in college football than getting the right head coach that fits the culture and the tradition of the program that you want to have at your university. Even the schools themselves, they sell themselves as the best in the conference. Nationally, we're going to contend for a championship. We're going to go to the bowl, and we need you to get it done. And the coaches must be the biggest seller of that. So in the Big Ten, each school has its own history. They have their own tradition. They have their own personality. And when they hire the caretakers of a coach to come in and take that role, the coaches that they hire are as important as to getting them to the next level. And we're going to discuss that today. No matter how you look at it, there's a lot of criteria. The criteria that may be flawed. We're not getting into criterias right now. We're just going to talk about our opinion. We want to hear your opinion as well. On the Sutter Heyman text line at 402-464-5689. Tap in if you think that we're ludicrous in our thinking or whatever the case may be. We're going to get started. I'm going to allow Bach, how you want to do it? Do you want each sticky to start it off, or you want to go 1-2, or how you want to do it? You just want to run it down? You want to go top 10? Or you want to run through it all? How do you want to do this, man? I'm deferring to you on this one.
Yeah, I've got my list 1 through 14, so we can go 14 up and just kind of swap picks here as we go. Yeah, why don't we do that? Let's swap picks. So once you take a guy, he's off the board, and we'll make our way up.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll start then. I'll start at 14. I think Mike Locksley at Maryland. I think he's a solid coach. I just think that it's a tough place to recruit. I personally don't think they have the stadium. I don't think they have the facilities, but they're able to compete on a level because he is an elite recruiter, right? And so therefore, he's only in his 2 years plus there. He's, I think he going into this year, he was 6 of 17, didn't have the greatest year. His records are really down. But nonetheless, he still competes and he puts out a product, but it's just not enough to compete at the level of the Big Ten. That's why I got him at 14.
Yeah, and I like that one. Overall, I mean, he really struggled in his tenure at New Mexico. So he's 17-75 overall as a college head coach. But at least getting Maryland up to 7-6 last year. But I agree with you. I kind of had him at the bottom too. Unfortunately, I can't go too much further with me at 13 without picking on Scott Frost. I mean, obviously a big supporter of Scott Frost, hoping this turns the corner, but the Big Ten is really, really competitive. I mean, all these spots moving up, everybody's had a flash of brilliance, which got them to the job. And that's what Frost is. He had a flash of brilliance that got him to this job. Nothing has worked well so far here. So maybe other than Mike Locksley, it's hard to find maybe one other guy that you could pick at 13, but I'm going to go with Scott Frost here. And in years past, he's been way higher ranked. But if the guy was this close to being fired and coming off a 3-9 season, we all know the writing on the wall. So it's unfortunate, but that's where Frost lands for me.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I mean, he hasn't been able to beat Illinois. He hasn't been able to beat dang near Indiana. I mean, so being at 13, probably the only one he maybe has beaten is Mike Locksley. And, yeah, on a consistent basis. So he just doesn't have the track record yet, in the Big Ten to get me to move off of that. And so I would have to agree at that one as well. I would then go to Brett Bielema at Illinois at 12. I think he's he's an Alvarez successor. I think he's a good coach. He's a solid coach. I don't have a problem with him. I just don't think that, they have the pedigree. I think he's underachieving there at Illinois. I don't think that it's a place that you can't get it done, because we knew that Illinois was able to do some good things because Lovie Smith put in some work when he was there. I mean, he got the best out of all of it when he was there. And so, it was up and down, but I just don't think he's been able to get that ship righted. So I'm going to say he's at 12.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, he did go 5-7 last year's first year with Illinois, beat Nebraska, so that's kind of sad there. I actually like the future under Brett Bielema. He's won 3 Big Ten championships with Wisconsin back in the day, but obviously his career has declined since then. So I think that's a solid pick for you there. Tom Allen will be number 11 for me out there in Indiana. Obviously coming off one of the better years in Indiana history, top 15 record or top 15 finish in 2020, but followed it up by not winning a conference game last year. 2-10 overall, 0-9 in conference play. And despite, going into, if we would have done this list going into last year, he's the big riser. Well, he's the big faller this year. I mean, and I maybe would have even had him a little bit lower than we ended up with him here, but I can't go much further without putting Tom Allen out there. He's going to need to rebound this year, I think, if he's going to stay there at Indiana.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think, that historical season that they had there at Indiana, I think maybe it was a fluke, and, he had a solid quarterback and got some things done, had some high level skill players, and was able to kind of win some big games in some tough ways. But yeah, I just don't see it. And that was 12, right?
That was 11. So we're on 10.
Was that 12?
That was 11. So we're on 10
sure?
now. I believe so. We got Locksley at 14,
so
Frost
at 10,
at 13, Bielema at 10, and Tom Allen at 11.
Okay. So we're at 10.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Greg Schiano.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Greg Schiano at Rutgers. I think he has success. He's had success because Rutgers has probably got to be the hardest Big Ten team to recruit to, right? As far as football is concerned. I think it's just, but he's a good coach because I think he's maximizing and he's getting the best out of them, right? He's also had 3 9-win seasons before he left for the NFL. So it's not that they can't get it done. I just think that, he's trying to rebuild, and I just don't think he's gotten to that point yet. I still think he's a good coach, and I think it's worthy of him putting him at that 10 slot.
Yeah, I like that. I think from here on out, it's going to be tough, and we're going to pick our choices. But you could really put a lot of different guys, especially at this 9th position. There's kind of a battle because nobody's really bad from here. I think we've kind of crossed the point of I guess the next tier of Big Ten coaches. But from here, I would go with Jeff Brom. Jeff Brom's coming off a very impressive 9-4 season, 2 top 5 wins. But it looks to me, at least, like that's a team with some of the losses that they're going to have. David Bell, I believe, is moved on. They're going to bring their quarterback back, but they lose Karlaftis. So I think that was just kind of a team that put a lot of it together. 28-29 overall at Purdue. Again, the big win this year, 9-4, or the big movement this year, 9-4. So he's on his way up as opposed to being on the hot seat last year. But there's just so much competition. I can't put him too much higher than 9.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fault you on that. I don't know if you would even be mad at me for putting this one. It may be a surprise, but I just don't. Here's why I think James Franklin is number 8.
Wow.
I think it's a surprise, but for me, although he has a high winning percentage per se, I still think with the talent that he's getting there at Penn State, they are superbly, magnanimously, audaciously, supremely underachieving. I was just trying to, I don't even know if half those was words. I was just coming up with something. But that's the level of underachievement I think that he's having there at Penn State with the talent that he's able to get there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, he's had 3 11-win seasons at Penn State, 3 top 10 finishes. But it is getting to the point after the last 2 years, 4-5 in 2020, 7-6 last year. That's 11-11 the last 2 years. You kind of got to hold his feet to the fire. And he had some interesting, I don't mean as far as being fired, but as far as criticism and moving down the list a little bit, I do think he deserves to be moved down the list a little bit. He was kind of flirting with the USC job last year, didn't end up getting it, had the team in the top 10 for a matter of time, but ended up, again, 11-11 in the last 2 years. That's not too good. So I kind of like that pick there, although it is surprising. I like the surprising picks too. At number 7, I think from here I'll go with Paul Chryst. Paul Chryst has also done a fantastic job at Wisconsin. I'll try to run down his record exactly. And it's nothing against Paul Chryst. I think they've got the method up there. I think it almost hurts him a little bit that he wins in a similar fashion to previous Wisconsin coaches. Certainly has been doing a good job. But again, over the last couple of years, 3 of the last 4 years not winning the West. And they're seen as the team that should be the favorite year in and year out in the West. They won 9 games last year. No shame in that. But 3 out of the last 4 years, no Big Ten West victory and no win total over 10. His first 3 years, he won 10, 11, and 13. So I think he's sliding a little bit, and part of it is just that he wins the same way that Wisconsin coaches have won it for a long time. So without really adding up the wins over the last several years, I think he's sliding a little bit in these rankings.
Yeah, and so you had him at 8?
I have him at 7 because you had Franklin at 8, right? So Paul Chryst at 7.
You got him at 7. All right. That is, that's a great point that you made. I don't have no faults on that at all. When I look at it next, I think I got to go with PJ Fleck. I think PJ Fleck at 6 is one. I mean, he's won the division. He's put some pros in the league. He's had some wins and bowls. I think he's a good coach because also the difficulty of what he's able to bring to Minnesota and yet still get maximum effort. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they are the what was that movie with your boy? I think they're the Deadpool, maximum effort. They're the Deadpool of the Big Ten because it's just like they give maximum effort and they're going to compete and they're going to fight and they may come up short, but I still think he's good at making adjustments and he's good at, game planning and strategy and putting themselves in a position to win. And just sometimes they just may not have all of the pieces in place, but I still think he's a good coach. I think this year is going to tell the tale as to how far he falls from grace if he doesn't, get it turned around this year.
Yeah. I love that pick, and I'm a big PJ Fleck fan, so I might move him up a little bit more. He rubs some people the wrong way, and gets other people to maybe want to run through a wall. I personally just like kind of his comments and the way he is, but I do think that's a pretty fitting spot for him to be. At number 5, I'm going to go with Pat Fitzgerald, and some people would want him to be at least in the top 5, but I think we have to hold him. I know it's Northwestern. I know he's been in the top 25. Finished there 5 times. He's won the West a few times. Those are incredible achievements in the West, but we do these rankings every year and we move guys up and down based on the previous year, and sometimes Pat Fitzgerald isn't held accountable for his losing seasons at Northwestern. I'm not moving him down to 10th or anything, but I do think he deserves to slide a little bit after a 3-9 season. We're ready to burn the house down here in Lincoln for a 3-9 season there. It doesn't seem to be as big of a deal, but at the same time, I've also hearing from the Northwestern side of it is that sometimes there's not a big difference between the 3 and 4 win seasons at Northwestern and the 8 and 9 win teams. It's just those crunch time moments and stuff like that. But this was a team that wasn't very close. So I think he's got some building to do. I don't expect him to be very good this upcoming year. So I'll go ahead and put him at 5.
Okay. I think at 4, then I'm going to go with Kirk Ferentz. There's no major college football coach that has been at his school longer than Kirk Ferentz. I think that, with the season that they had last year, winning the West, going 7-2 and doing it with the most basic, without a quarterback, with a running game and just solid defense, that tells me that he can coach. So I think that, he's, with his 168 wins, well, actually it's more than that now. I think, so he's got about 177 wins, I believe. And it's 4th ranked all time in Big Ten history. I think he's been consistently getting it done and is worthy of a top 5. And I think I'd have him at 4.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And he does seem like a guy that has to coach his way to a win more often than just having the talent on the field take over. So other than the defensive side, which he does coach incredibly well, and they've been great on that side of the ball for a long time. At number 3 there, I mean, I know he's the kind of the flavor of the month. We'll go with Mel Tucker coming off his 11-2 season, top 10 finish for Michigan State. And maybe this is a little high. Seeing what we've seen in the past from guys like Tom Allen or, kind of had big seasons. Can they sustain it? We'll see if he can do that in East Lansing. But I also want to give him credit for being the portal king year 1 of the portal, right? Now, year 2, he's going out in the portal again and trying to grab those things. But, it's similar to the kind of the credit I have to give Coach Hoiberg for what he did at Iowa State, where he was one of the early guys to go out and get all the transfers and put together a team. And that was like a unique strategy at the time. I think similar to that, we're going to see over time, everybody's going to be doing the portal. And it's going to be hard to be the king of the portal or be like separate so much there because everybody's going to be into it. But early on, Mel Tucker has taken advantage of that. And I think that they're in good hands there. And he's got the contract to be in East Lansing for quite a bit of time later.
Yeah, and that's what I would have said too. I mean, like I said, they had him coming in at the bottom of the barrel, coming in and into the 2021 season, and what he was able to do, that shows good coaching because it is not easy, and we can see that with the Fred Hoiberg situation here in the basketball side. Although they're different sports, you can still see that it's not easy to get people that have not been foundational to your program to buy in. And he got a bunch of transfers and people to come in to buy into the system and play for the goal and got it done. And so I'm riding with that. So I would go with number 2. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Harbaugh. I'm going to go with Harbaugh at number 2, just because on the strength of his consistency, he still, is a 10-3 team to me. They never win the big one, but he broke through this year, which is worthy of him jumping up, I think, to the 2 slot, getting it done. Still can't win the big one, but I still think what he was able to accomplish after starting 2-4 with the pressure upon him. And then they had the COVID situation, and then turn it around and turn it into getting into the championship series was a phenomenal feat. And I credit them for breaking through and finally getting the big one against Ohio State. So I'm rolling.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to see him back in the Big Ten. Some of these guys might have moved up the rankings a little bit with whoever Michigan replaced him with, but he's definitely one of the top coaches up there. And then, of course, that leaves the number one spot for Ryan Day, 34-4 in conference play overall. Finally, it seemed like he's beatable in the Big Ten. He's 23-1 in the Big Ten. That Harbaugh victory over him is the only in the first one to beat Ryan Day. And I've not held Ryan Day as in high as regard as in the first couple seasons because he took over for Urban Meyer. But at a certain point, you got to sustain that thing. I mean, Luke Fickell, who's a great head coach, and maybe this was early on in his career, but he struggled taking it over the Ohio State machine when he had his one opportunity to do so after Tressel. So at this point, I think you got to give him a lot of credit and say he's the top coach in the Big Ten. Certainly, all these other coaches would like to work with the talent in the machine that is Ohio State, but it's hard to argue with 34-4.
Absolutely. I would have to agree with you. I think, we had some good thoughts on that. I mean, tell us what you think again at the Sutter Haven text line at 402-464-5685. If you think we're loco, or you think we kind of hit the mark, text us there on the Sutter Haven text line. We're going to go on a break. We're going to finish up on hitting the hardwood with E. Strick. We're going to talk a little bit more after this break. Come on back on the block.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salaried jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Very cold conditions again here for our Thursday, but with the winds calming down and plenty of sunshine, it should feel a bit nicer. We only top out near 20 this afternoon. Northeast winds at around 10. Clear tonight and cold with a low down to around 5. We'll start to bounce back a little bit for our Friday with an afternoon high of 36. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Is your furnace or heat pump ready for winter? Call Bryant to schedule your home heating check. Comfortable, safe, efficient. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealership, is hosting their annual planter clinic at the Adams County Fairgrounds in Hastings, Nebraska, February 23rd and 24th. Landmark's Planter Clinic offers expansive equipment training and important information on new and updated technology for this planting season. Learn more about AMS documentation and guidance, row unit and meter settings, and soil moisture monitoring options. Join us February 23rd and 24th in Hastings, RSVP by calling your local Landmark.
Turn off the TV and power down the video games. It's time for homework. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the NSEA. We want every child to learn and be successful. As a teacher, mom, and grandmother, I know children need a quiet place to do homework. Designate an area in your home away from the TV and background noise. Good study habits start with a quiet learning environment at home.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The block is hot here on the block, and it's time for Hitting the Hardwood, our daily NBA segment with former NBA player Eric Strickland as we run through some of the storylines in the NBA to round out the show. Reminder tonight on the Ticket weeknights, it's a heavy basketball night. We have The Truth coming up next with Kobe Webster and CJ Wilcher, as that's always entertaining. And Strick, I think you're going to be a part of that show as well. And then we have What's the Buzz with Buzzy Carruthers. So that will be exciting. And then following those is, of course, Nebraska women's basketball playing tonight against Penn State. Pretty big game for Nebraska. Try to get another win against the Lady Lions there. And that game is at PBA. But after that game and following our Ticket weeknight shows will be the Husker women's post-game show here on 93.7 The Ticket. So a lot to run through there and to get excited about coming up here in the next several hours. But of course, like I said, wrapping up things here on the block, just want to run through a couple of the scores that we had last night in the NBA, the notable ones, before getting to look ahead to some of the action that we have tonight. Magic outlasted the Pacers 119-118 for their 12th win of the year. That's notable because it's 12 wins. It's not notable because they're very good, but they don't get wins very often, so that's a big win for them. Kyle Kuzma with a big block on Joel Embiid to preserve the Wizards' upset win, 106-103 over the 76ers. Celtics beat the Hornets 113-107, despite LaMelo Ball's 38 points last night, which I believe led the league as far as on the night. Oh, only Doncic. Doncic had a little bit more in the Thunder's, in the Mavericks loss actually to the Thunder 120-114, but he got overtime to do that. So that's not necessarily fair. And the Jazz actually beat the Nuggets 108-104 as well. So big win for the Jazz. Looking ahead to tonight's game, national TV schedule, Phoenix with their 41-9 record taking on Atlanta 24-26 and Trae Young there. And then TNT tonight, Clippers and Lakers. Neither of them are above 500. Both of them are right around 500. But that is the big game tonight. And the discussion of our topic here, of course, Clippers and Lakers, one of the bigger rivalries in the NBA because they play in the same city, in the same building, not because the Clippers historically have been very good. But I did want to ask you, Strick, about maybe the biggest rivalry feel you've had playing in an NBA game that you can remember. Of course, you've played with some historic franchises, and they've tend to get their own rivalries there. So what was kind of the biggest one you had? Was it in Dallas with some of the other Texas team, Boston playing the Lakers, or, the Knicks? Everybody, and the Knicks always have a target on their back, regardless of who's coming into Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I would have to say it was definitely the Lakers and the Celtics, where whether it was at home or it was on the road, it was always some fire in that. I love to watch P, which is, for me, P is Paul Pierce. I love to watch P when he would go back to LA and he would go at Kobe like no other. Like I just loved how P, when he got back home, he had that no care attitude about it. And we were really good that year. I mean, we were really good. And it was fun that when you travel and when you show up that there's respect and you're going in to get wins. I remember us one time, we had a game in Atlanta And it was, we all went out and had some food and, went and played the game, busted Atlanta's head wide open. And then we had to go on a back-to-back to Miami with, D Wade and that crew and down there in Miami. That was before they were really good, when they had, Shaq and that crew. But we got in that night. This is how good we were. We got in that night about 2:00. Twan had about 3 limos for us waiting. We got in, went out, had some eats at this place called Beds. And then we went to this club right after that. And we was in there having a ball. Now, we had a back-to-back game. We was in there having a ball. And I mean having a ball. So much so that we finally was just looking at each other like, yo, we got to go, bro. And we finally get up and we like going to the car and the sun was coming up.
Oh, no.
It was crazy. And we won the game, bro. And I mean, we didn't win like by a small, we beat them like 14 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the fun times of playing. But I would definitely say it was that rivalry. There was a rivalry, obviously, that was created out of the Indiana-Detroit situation. I was there prior to the Malice in the Palace, but it was definitely some fire and in those rivalries as Indiana became a top top organization in the East. And then Dallas at that time we weren't very good. Jersey was a rival back for us in Boston as well, but Jersey, they just had a little run, and with Jason Kidd and the crew and Martin and Kenyon Martin and Kerry Kittles and that crew, and then Vince ended up coming over there and jumping in the group and what's his name?
Richard Jefferson was
Richard there. Jefferson too. Yeah, he came in. So they did good. They had a nice little run and but we 3-1 them, and the greatest wish you could go back on it was our coach Jim O'Brien not playing and doing what we did to get wins out of them and playing a different lineups in the playoffs that ended up costing us that series. But hey, that was it for me.
Yeah, bygones be bygones, I suppose. I did want to ask you real quick, as we have just under a minute here. Is there an advantage to being Miami, the Heat, right? Like a party city I'm sure the Celtics weren't the only team that enjoyed themselves a late night in Miami when they take that road trip.
Facts.
Yeah. So the Heat have the advantage.
Facts.
I'll keep that in mind with them at the top of the division. But we are running up things here on the block. Don't go anywhere. The Truth is next. Kobe Webster and CJ Wilcher will be getting on the airwaves, and they'll actually join Strix. Strix going to join them, I should say, as well. So the very, very entertaining stuff coming up here. Again, What's the Buzz? Also, Buzzy Carruthers is going to be following them. And then the women's post-game show tonight after hopefully they get the dub against Penn State. That's all coming up next here on The Ticket. That's going to do it. Thanks for joining us on the block.